What's up, baby?
Yo, up my mustard asses.
Hmm.
So welcome
Gentlemen.
to another episode of the greatest show ever. We are
Booyah!
part of the Who They Want Network, and on our tech support is the one, the only DJ Steady.
Steady Eddie. What's up, Tech? What's up, aka Tech? As you know, this your boy Velly Boy. Good to see you. Blessed, happy,
Yeah,
happy, happy as hell, I should say. Super Bowl weekend, baby. So, we're
amen,
gonna get it in.
amen.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Vel, so, tell me, how you doing, brother? How you doing today?
You know what I'm saying? I'm doing well, kid. You know what I mean? I'm doing well because it's been a little cloudy, you know what I'm saying? Been a little cloudy last 5 days, you know what I mean? Been a little cloudy last 5 days. But sometimes when you got a lot of weight on you with all that water in the bag, it's the water in the bag, you put a hole through it, and there go the pressure. There go the pressure. There go the pressure. Now, you know what I'm saying? It's the Super Bowl, baby. All that confusion and confliction, having to go to work and everything, can't go to no events and all that. You know what I'm saying? All that, it's just in my heart. So, you know what I'm saying? I'm doing lovely now. The sun is shining out here in AZ, yo. We got Super Bowl tomorrow, yo. I'm doing hellacious.
Hell yeah.
How you
Hell
doing,
yeah.
kid? How you doing? How you doing? How you feeling? How you feeling today?
Well, my last how you doing was more for the fellas, talking about pimple popping and the releasing of that pressure at the same time. So this how you doing? This one's for the ladies.
The
So
sex
you know
talk.
that feeling when you're standing in a bed of roses and that sweet aroma of rose oil and Mother Earth just fill the air. You know, all the sweat, the blood, the tears that you spent
Mm,
planting the bed of roses, the bushes,
mm,
to see them now
the pruning. Mm-hmm.
flourish so that knowing that you so much that they provide the local bees and butterflies and hummingbirds with food and nectar and water. And that sense of pride, just of you're giving all and it's giving back. This is what the B&W show is now. It's that bed of roses for the bees, the butterflies, and the hummingbirds.
Mm, mm. That's that's where we leave it at.
That's
That's
it.
that's that's it. That's how we leave it at.
That's how
You
we
like
leave
you just
it.
you know how you did it with this. How you doing? You know how you did it. You know at the end of the movie, The Lord of the Rings. You want to talk about a movie review? If we gonna skip forward right quick, whatever. We ain't even gonna talk about Lord of the Rings. But just saying, you know how the end of Lord of the Rings when he like, I too, I'll walk with you where else, Mister Frodo.
Yeah, the book was
What
better.
kind of what kind of shit was that? I'm like, yo, you put a 3 hour movie together and you be like, yo, this shit is banging with all the special effects and banging. And then you end it with some old one liner like shit. Like, man, that old stupid, silly ass shit, you know. Uh, that
Well,
was your how you doing today. That was your how you doing. You just left it
yeah,
like, Bed of Roses is nice if you sleeping in.
it was a nice
Some
bed of roses.
roses. There
A
you
nice bed
go.
of
You know what
roses.
I'm saying? I'm feel you. I feel you. Yeah. You leading to something. Super Bowl. Lead to
Yeah.
something.
So
Nice,
yeah, well,
nice, nice.
yeah, well,
Mm-hmm.
with the Super Bowl coming in, let's go ahead and let's talk about your love for Tom Brady.
You need to correct yourself. You know what I'm saying? Because this is what you see up here is this right here. It's the Cleveland Browns. But, I was just talking about legends last show, correct?
Yeah,
We
a
was
little bit.
talking about stars. We was talking about legends and everything. And so this is just Tom Brady. You got a game recognized game, man. Greatness is greatness. So,
Sure,
after 23 years, Tom Brady has retired.
sure.
Now, to some of his fans, this is rejoicing news, and to others, this retirement is more akin to bittersweet. Spygate, Deflategate, camera spy in the stands, or 6 rings on the wall. When the last one received at 40, you could pretty much tell everybody else to kiss my ass and call me when I go to Canton. Now, mic drop on that. Only thing I gotta just say is congrats to Tom Brady. Love him, hate him. But one thing you can't say is that he's not a legend. That's it, baby. Now, my friend may have some opposing perspective on this. That's just my opinion. You see, Cleveland don't mess with, the Buffalo Bills year after year after year after year. And I could say this 20 times for as many years Tom Brady has just basically whipped up on Buffalo's ass. But it's not my place to share that perspective. It's my counterpart over there. So I'm going to turn it to my brother so he can share his perspective.
Well, we've given Tom Brady a beating a time or two. We beat in our home turf. We beat him on his home turf.
I went and
Um,
called a rivalry.
no. The one rivalry
Hmm.
that Tom Brady can't get past.
Okay.
It's one of the Manning brothers. It's not Peyton.
Wait, didn't
It's
play for
not Peyton.
Buffalo then. Well, okay, we're not
No,
talking.
no,
Okay, okay,
no.
okay.
Talking Eli Manning. He's
You
0
won.
2
You
in
won.
Super Bowls against Eli Manning. You can
Right,
call
right.
him the
Okay.
GOAT if you want, but you
Yeah.
can't be the GOAT if you've lost to another. You're 0 2 against another quarterback. Sorry, he's not the
Wait,
GOAT.
wait. So is Michael Jordan the GOAT?
Not my perspective.
Okay, got it. Because that's all this is perspective. But
That's
Michael
right.
Jordan's domination, and he didn't get past them bad boys until he had some other people on the side.
That's right.
Every
That's right.
Batman, Superman, Robin. Everybody needs something. We ain't talking about Batman and Superman together. There's always a sidekick to somebody. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Superman had the
Yeah.
dog.
Yeah. Superman had Jimmy Olsen.
And he had Lois Lane and all that. Yeah,
That's
but
right.
there's a sidekick in the team. You see what I'm saying? So, if you can't, your opinion, Jordan's not a legend though. He's not one of
Well,
the.
he's
He
definitely
is
a
a legend
legend.
though,
He's not a goat. He's not the goat.
and he got beat. But who's your
Yeah.
goat?
Magic.
He took losses.
He did take losses.
They did call him Choke Johnson. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying, when he getting
Yep.
past the Celtics in that playoff
Yep.
in that game 7, right?
Of
You
course.
see what I'm
Of course.
saying? But he is a legend. You
That's
got
right.
to give the label to Brady as well. You see what I'm saying? It's not too mean that you're gonna say could
But
dominate the sport,
yeah,
but
definitely legend. He'll be a first ballot Hall of Famer.
oh, okay,
It,
you giving that up?
and
Okay,
I wouldn't be surprised if on purpose they put Gronk and Brady in at the same time. Just because,
yeah,
like you said, Gabriel's
Gronk,
got
Gronk
to
is
have a
worthy.
sidekick. That's his sidekick.
So you think they'll probably do it like that? Boost the
Yep.
ratings on that one, that's for sure. That
Yep.
would be a good selection. They all.
Right.
So he's a first timer too. Gronk, you
Yeah.
trying to think? Brady gonna be a first timer.
Uh, well,
He's
well,
going. You don't think?
I don't know if Gronk will be first time because didn't he
Right. I
retire?
don't know
He didn't
neither.
return last year, right? So he's
Right.
1 year ahead as far as eligibility for Hall of Fame. So if they are gonna do the Gronk Brady Hall of Fame ticket, he'll have to be passed on the first time.
Well, he didn't play this year, so
Right.
that's 1 year up under the book. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
That's what I'm saying. So he's got a
coming in,
year
so
on
yeah,
retirement over Brady.
yeah. Okay. Well, at least you give it up to that. I do sense a little hostility, but you're giving it up to Brady. Okay, you recognize. So you agree with me in some sense.
Of
You don't
course.
want to hesitantly, but I
Of
understand.
course.
I I I have the same way about them feelers. You know,
Of course.
them sons of.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we're not gonna get off topic. Tribute to Brady. I Super
Amen.
Bowl. Who you gonna
Amen.
think gonna win tomorrow though? Eagles, Chiefs.
I don't have a selection.
Put yourself out there, Aaron. Don't do
If
that.
I say anybody, I say I'm going Philly.
Okay, agree. I think so as well. I think they might snag him. I think it's gonna
Yeah.
be a high one. I'm thinking
Yeah.
3 touchdowns apiece. You know what I'm saying? I can't
Think
say
so?
it's all gonna be throwing. I think it's 3 touchdowns apiece and then a field goal somewhere in there. You know,
Okay. Okay.
defenses both gonna get caught. But I'm thinking Eagles defense got a little better top notch, little more solidified on that second front back there than the Chiefs. A lot of times
Sure.
Chiefs they allow a lot. That's why they got to score even more. You see what
Right.
I'm saying?
Exactly. Yep. Exactly.
Versus a straight domination on one front with the Eagles. So I'm thinking that. I tell you, I'm doing a hell of a parlay. Yes,
Yeah.
sir. I ain't gonna talk about it too much because I don't want to jinx it. So
For sure.
you know,
For sure.
I'm I'm gonna
Yeah,
keep it
don't
under
don't wear
wraps.
don't wear your game day gear if you're not going to watch it.
Nah, 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 yeah, nah, yeah, because tomorrow's just gonna be a hellacious day. So
Yep.
it's just I'm gonna be on my own high. It's funny we talk about drugs, because I'm gonna be
Right.
on my own high tomorrow when it comes to
Right.
football.
Exactly.
Football like church. Hallelujah.
Amen. Amen.
For sure, man.
All
So
right.
you know, let's get serious. I guess we
All
gotta
right.
get
Yeah. Yeah.
serious, peoples. We
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
serious.
But we're gonna dip into our main topic. We're talking drugs this show,
Are they
and
serious though? Drug serious?
yeah, yeah, and I mean there's a lot of racial barriers when it comes to drugs, and obviously I think the war on drug is used in that capacity of being a means of pushing those racial boundaries. Um, because obviously I myself I'm not an avid what do you say drug user.
Right.
Um,
Not a steady participant. Not at
yeah,
all.
yeah,
Not even
and
steady.
yeah, and
Not
the
even
word
once in a
drug
while.
is yeah, the word drug's kind of a weird word. Like what is a drug, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, because anything can be a drug, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, obviously, you go to the pharmacy for drugs. You can go to your local Walmart, go to the counter and get some over the counter drugs. Like drugs are, we use the word drugs as it's like a bad thing, and it's not necessarily a bad thing. Um,
Mm-hmm.
like I myself, like I don't even I do my best to not have to take anything like Tylenol, ibuprofen, or any of that. Like
We
unless it's like
get injured, you no drugs? Not at all.
I do my best to take to stay away from like it has to be like an extreme circumstance for me to want to
Mm-hmm.
uh, even take some relief. Like I nowadays I have like a hip that occasionally goes out, and I'll wait several days before I take some
Mm-hmm.
ibuprofen to relieve it. Um, and again, that's not just because a moral stance or anything like that. It's not like oh God doesn't believe, or the church has nothing to do with any of that. It's just that's just who I am as a person. Um,
Mm-hmm.
now let's say like I don't use alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
I'm an avid drinker, so that's the way I get my groove on. I guess is I enjoy the partakings of a nice whiskey or some good beer, or something along
Right.
those lines.
Right.
You know,
Right. Right. So if I before I don't mean to interrupt, but I know
yeah,
you just hit on something. So as you continue, but you were saying like the no drugs and you was like for pain, and I have heard a lot of that in the mindset, but every time I hear that, I'm like, shit, not with me, dog. You need to pop me something, shoot something, because when you play football, the body impact of continuously smashing, smashing, smashing at high velocities is so adrenaline invigorating, but yes, it's definitely painful when we
sure,
look at the end when I got knee surgery or my high ankle sprain or rotator cuff, and the level of tolerance that you have is sometimes dominated by the pain. And so like myself, I'm like I don't want a rough life, but I already know mentally I'm strong as far as when it comes to that possibility of addiction. I know what my limit may be. And then when I hear that, I often wonder, it's a good conversation to have. It's like, well, why don't you take the drugs? Is it because do you feel like you may become addicted to this drug? Or is it just maybe like, no, I just don't believe in putting in things in my body like that. When my body, I just need to go through my body and let it heal naturally. Or is it just ego? Like, man, fuck that. You know what I'm saying? That's for sissies. I ain't taking that dick. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to work tomorrow, hobbling in and shit, So this is, just some of the questions I'll be wondering, like, why sometimes are we bullish in that aspect? Quick story with me, because, when I was doing backflips with my son, thinking that I'm young and 19 is fine. Oh, I was getting it, of course, because I'm agile. But and as I'm doing it, I'm like, oh, Fally backflip. So I got two. First of all, I got two. So I went here, no shit. I did two backflips. So I can say I did a fucking backflip. Now,
All
the result of what happened of doing that second backflip, that's something after the fact if I completed my backflip. Okay. Let's get that straight first. So, all right. Now, had a blood clot, right? Knee didn't feel right. You put some ice on it. You know me. Just put some ice on it. It's gonna go away. You know that, Aaron. We have talked about things like that, which is a thing. So, 2 weeks, what I'm saying? My shit not swollen down. It's just steady as it is. And I'm like, yo, this ain't right. This ain't just, swell up your knee. Now I went to the doc. Long story short, got it looked at. She said, you got a blood clot and you need to go see a specialist. Who's your doctor? Yada yada. I went to my doctor next day, looked in the X-ray, said, yo, we need to get you to surgery. When you available? And I mean, like tomorrow you available for surgery? Because that's when we need to do it. Long story short, if I ain't do surgery with that next 24, 48 hours, dog, I could have lost the bottom half of my leg. Basically, because ego. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
From that point, something hurt. Hey, I need to go see a doc. You know what I'm saying? So I just asked. So what is it for you?
I don't know. Sometimes it's the feeling. Um, some of it's ego, where I don't, I want to be in control of my own self.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember doing my wedding? I had my finger issue, right? So I
Yeah.
had surgery on my finger, and afterwards, the doctor gave me like Percocet or something for pain management,
Right.
and I took it. Um, but I was all jittery and like I don't know if
Yeah.
this is better than the pain, So I couldn't sleep, which the best thing for pain is sleep, for recovery
Mm-hmm.
for anything is sleep. So if you can't sleep, it's not helping you in your recovery. So I actually dumped the Percocet, and what I
Mm-hmm.
did is I got me a big bowl of water as hot as I could stand it, with a big cup of Epsom salt. I put it in there and dissolved the Epsom salt in the hot water, and I just stuck my hand right in that Epsom salt, and it just like pulled that pain out, and like it would hurt like a bitch to begin with, but once I soaked it for 20 minutes and it numbed everything. It numbed my finger. I was like, oh, that is relief. That is real relief. So now, like, part of if I'll find an alternative to finding relief over
That sound
medication.
like you. That
Yeah,
sound like you too. That
yeah,
sounds just like you. Like, nah, Vel, we ain't gonna do that. Look, I'm gonna just go ahead and just get some hot water, some hot in. Just real hot. You gotta have it real hot though.
yeah,
Just dump a finger in it. So just cut it
yeah,
open though. You gotta cut it open. You
yeah.
gotta open it up, get it exposed so it can get in there.
No, you
I
don't
know the
necessarily open
doctor.
it up.
Can
It's
you
more
shoot
about
me up?
just soaking in that hot water. That hot water, especially
Right.
the Epsom salt, will just pull that pulls all the toxins from your
Mm-hmm.
finger. It releases the lactic acid in your muscles. Um,
Right.
I don't know, and the hot water just it just relaxes all your muscles. And actually,
Mm-hmm.
when I did that, I could actually get like 4 hours worth of sleep before it actually flare up, and I have to go and do it all over again. But 4 hours sleep, I was able to sleep through the night. I
Mm-hmm.
sleep, go get up, I can do my soak it for 20 minutes, half hour, go lay back down for another. That's how I did it.
That's
And
a
then
cow. That's a
remainder of the time,
cowboy.
stay busy with myself.
You a cowboy.
So
Yeah.
all that to said, that that's not our topic on today. I mean, that's just my viewpoint
Right.
on
Right.
how I
No,
feel.
that's
You know,
but
so
a lot share that, which is nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that a lot,
yeah,
because one thing is about, it is about your own level of toughness and grit and basically perspective of healing your own self and nurturing your own self, taking care of your own self. So no beef on that, But I definitely wanted to know that perspective. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So that's
Because
what's up.
in the grand scheme of things, even though I personally am not an avid drug user,
Right.
I'm also I'm a constitutionalist, right? And
Hmm.
and you're some of those people out there are probably asking, "Hey, we got a chat bot." Woo!
Right.
Anyways, uh, so what was I saying?
Tech
Uh,
gonna handle that. So Tech, you wanna,
no
because
worries. It's just a comment.
he's
It's
so
a comment.
happy. He like, woo,
Yeah,
woo.
comment. But anyways, so you're probably asking like, what does the Constitution have to do with drugs? Well, so there is obviously the amendment, the 18th Amendment, which was the prohibition of alcohol, right?
Right.
So the Constitution of the United States was created as a means to protect the people from the government and not vice versa, not to give power to the government or protect the government from the power from the people. It's to protect the people from the government. So the 18th Amendment was probably the most asinine amendment to ever been added to the Constitution, the prohibition of alcohol, because that gave power to the government over people.
Hmm.
So that's when, thankfully, it only took three amendments later. I mean, it was a couple of decades, but the 21st Amendment, which finally repealed the 18th Amendment and said, the politicians at that time finally came to their senses and had that same realization that the Constitution is about the people. It's for the people. So, in saying of that, I believe the 21st Amendment of the repeal of uh, the prohibition of alcohol should also apply to drug use, because alcohol is a drug, right? And there's no victim when it comes to drug use, right? Just like
Hmm.
there's there's nobody sitting here going to force me to drink a beer or drink a whiskey, you know. That is a personal choice. That's something that I enjoy, that I do. So if somebody were to come by my house and say, "Hey, you shouldn't be doing that," I'd be like, "Man, you're a goddamn business." So same with drugs, right? So
Now
if
you
people
said.
are in their house and they want to,
Mm.
smoke marijuana, or they want to shoot the heroin, or they want to do some lines of coke, by all means. Now, the laws in place that govern your actions thereafter should be in play, because that's a protection, again, protection of people. Like, if if I do go out to the local bar and I do drink, obviously I got to make sure I'm safe getting home, right? Or say same as here, if I'm drinking at my house, and I got to make sure whatever I'm doing here is safe. Like, I'm not harming anybody else. I'm not making a public nuisance. All that kind of stuff. Yeah. So when it comes to drug use, you regulate, just like you would cigarettes and alcohol. Regulate the drug market, um, and just allow people to make their own choices, and you move on. That's what the Constitution and America is all about, is personal choice. You have every bit of choice to.
So elite. So allowing that. So same basically taxation on all that shit.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Taxation on crack, taxation on heroin,
yeah,
all that. So if they
yeah.
can't get it, doesn't that cop out in the adverse way? Because for instance, okay, everything is thriving and we have this valid point of libertism. Could we say that have a balanced mindset of libertism in this aspect?
Sure.
So say, so we
Sure.
use Detroit as which we all know history. So GM's thriving, Detroit's thriving, the economy's booming, booming. soon as that crack hit their streets, it fuck up everything because then everybody got the boom of money, of course, and they have everything, but with their choices of freedom, you know, having not being able to balance what they ask for, which they think they should receive. You see what I'm saying? And as a
Mhm.
whole, what happened? It collapsed. Because then everybody in the factory, then they got strung out on that shit and they ain't go to work no more. Then they wasn't paying bills no more. And you know what I'm saying? As it took over, slowly by slowly, the crumble started happening. But
Right.
how to rebuild it in that same mindset is a struggle now. So that's why we say, okay, well, how if history shows us this is what happened, okay, well, we got to prevent that. How do we prevent that if we still want to give the equal privileges, or
Well,
the legal privileges and all these drugs? You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? Because
Well, see, that's
we seen what crack do to the streets. You know what
okay.
I mean?
Okay.
So how do we regulate that? Because
You
then
know.
if my neighbor doing crack and he got a habit with getting things, that's going to cause a problem. You don't want to be stressed out where you live. You're supposed to be enjoying yourself where you live. But are we all comfortable living with a house full of heroin addicts, and then with them compelled problems that they have, which may be some child molestation problems and some alcoholism and, violent tendencies and things, you know, and are we all comfortable, living like that? How we regulate from those additional problems happening
Okay.
versus what we
Let me ask
have
this:
now.
how many of your neighbors are alcoholics?
Right. Then again, we have to go back. We have to know this information too.
Right. Right.
So we have to know
So
all this information.
right. So obviously, again, so you can't regulate what your neighbor's going to do because
Right.
that's not your job, right?
Right.
And you shouldn't. So um, people are going to self regulate, right? If
Hmm.
somebody's going to become an alcoholic and they're going to do it to the point to where they lose their job, they lose their wife, they lose their house, they're going to do that, whether it's legal or not
Right.
legal, right?
Right.
So if somebody's going to take heroin or cocaine to the point to where they lose their job, they lose their house, they lose their wife, that's going to
Or
be
the
that's on them.
family.
That's personal choice. Yeah, that's part of personal choice, personal responsibility.
The detriment of that is how many kids now do we have out on the streets or with strung out parents, and then they have no guidance of themselves. So, as well as a
Yeah,
community structure, we have to look at the damage and how do we contain this on a family structure
sure.
of that
Well,
dynamic.
how do we do it? How do we do it now with alcohol? I mean, it's. I mean,
But
you're gonna have you're gonna have these problems no matter what,
so you
right?
can take the same approach to alcohol as you can do with a heroin addict or a
Of
crackhead
course,
or a meth addict, or
of
somebody on
course.
fitness. All that's what you think though. You see. So I don't think you could. It's like speaking in different language. In order to be a master speaker, as you know, you got to switch your tongue. So you can't treat the treatment or think that or take the approach of treating the treatment everyone the same way may have the same result because those experiences and varieties that go into that is so mixed up. So what you may get out or how it ends up, you don't know. It's just like trying to help all your abused children. We don't know where all our kids came from. So when we try to give them the guidance, some may take it, some may rebel, or some may, use it in a certain way, to make it good or make it bad. It's all about that choice. But what do we do with those jewels? You know what I'm saying? So it's when we talk about that
Yeah.
because we look at the what I say about this word this year, perspective,
Yeah.
and what you have is a good idea. We can taxation on all this, and will it overall control? What happens? We don't know, maybe, but look at the
Well,
family structure,
so
and
let
will
me
it
ask you
break
this.
down it
Let me
or
ask you this.
build it up?
What are we doing now about crack babies or kids being left out on the street because their parents are druggies or whatever, right? Nothing,
Right.
right?
Are our
Because
programs do we have good enough? Is the
right,
question.
right.
Right.
But now, man, part of that is because there's no money for it. Well, they
True.
say there's no
Right.
money for it, right?
Right.
So
Right. We know. Hmm.
right. So if we start regulating these drugs and we start pulling these taxes, part of those
Right.
regulations are states are going to have to start establishing programs for these situations, right? Right now, you can go on and find programs in regards to alcohol abuse and runaways and all that kind of stuff. That's all funded by taxes from alcohol, tobacco, and
Right.
lotto, right?
Right. Right.
And even like when we started legalizing marijuana here in Arizona,
Hmm.
a lot of the taxes had to be put to programs that would help people who may have problems with marijuana. Because even though
Which
they say
still
it's
ain't enough.
right, because even though they say
Hmm.
marijuana is not an addictive drug, it doesn't
Hmm.
matter. People have addictive personalities. They can get
Personalities. Right.
addicted, right? It's
Right.
about the person. It's not necessarily about the drug. So
Right.
if a person does start having a problem with their marijuana use, there's
Right.
actually programs in place now, better
Right.
program, more regulated because there's actual monies going into it.
Right. Agree, but still not enough. You see, because I like I l- first of all banging that subject because one thing when I think about because those mind things, I think, okay, how's this affecting on the inside? Okay,
Mhm.
because on the outside we can say, okay, all of this money is great. We're gonna tax as this. Would it legalize? We don't know. But if you have the mindset to say it is, then we're like, okay, this is a positive thing. But then, okay, that's not a positive thing to those victims that I have the legal access legally to have that and those victims going through. However, we take that money and be able to put some type of um, um, more funding and programs in place and probably laws in place
Yeah,
that's going to help child abuse and basically domestic violence
sure.
abuse and drug
Sure.
addictions because the first thing we got to say is not necessarily send them to jail, but no, let's get them help. But if we put, like you said, we put that extra money off taxes into that funding, okay, is that enough is the question. Good idea,
Well,
but is it enough is still
well,
the
it's never going to be enough because you know I don't know what it is with the world nowadays where everybody thinks that everybody is entitled to everything and it's a instant gratification, right? Um, the same with that. You're never going to institute 100% freedom, which is what we should have, without
right.
having
Mm.
consequences. That's just who we are as people. People, because we're allowed to make personal choice, are expected to hold personal responsibility, but not everybody holds themselves responsible. And
No.
that's part of what holds things back is people aren't not responsible enough to be able to have a legalized drugs. Well, it's not for the government to say who's responsible enough, and
Right.
they can do the age restriction, 21
Hmm.
and older, 25 and older, it don't matter
Hmm.
because it doesn't matter because kids are just like
Hmm.
anything else.
Hmm.
If it's illegal, somebody's going to still get a hold of it. You
Right.
know, um,
Curiosity does, even in a sense, it's gonna grab me in some way.
right,
It's
right.
just
But
that
if
factor,
if
how
it's
strong
if
you
it's
are,
allowed to be
addicted to it.
legal, it allows parents to then further educate their kids on what it means. They can, um, I've had the luxury of being able to teach my stepson how to drink. You know, he's 23 now, and I've taught him how to drink. Like if you want to drink to get wasted, by all means, you're young, but do it on like Bud Light or some like the really cheap stuff, right? Like that's the stuff, like because all you're gonna do is throw it up, right? You're just gonna throw it, and then you're just wasting alcohol. Like, but if you really want to sit back and enjoy it, that's when you break out you know,
Single
your
malt.
Hennessy, your XO, bring out your
Mm,
McCullens, your Jameson Black Stout, you bring out the good stuff. But you don't chug it because it's all about moderation, and so
right,
a parent
right,
can then go, hey, like
right,
yeah, I know you're gonna experiment, you're gonna understand. Let me help you figure these things out. It's part of responsibility of growing up and it's just learning your way. And
right.
it is, there's stories nowadays of people who have who've been drug addicts who are now clean and sober
Yeah.
and living a successful life. So
Oh, indeed.
to say to only focus on, well, people are gonna fail because of this. Well, if they are, they are. They're gonna fail either way, right? They're gonna
Hmm.
fail either way, whether it's
Hmm.
legalized or it's not legalized. You know, they're gonna fail either way. So, um,
If you want it, you will go and try to get it. You will
yeah,
go
yeah,
and try to obtain it in some
yeah,
type of form or fashion. You see what I'm saying? It's that lesson like they tell you, hey, don't touch that when you go in there. First thing you looking at is what's she talking about? Don't touch that. What's that do?
yeah, yeah. I
That
mean,
curiosity factor.
yeah. I mean, if you go up to Sally Jones on the street, who's never touched drugs in her life,
Hmm.
and say, "Well, it's now legal now," she's not gonna go, and go to the first drugstore and OD. She
Right.
put, right, just like anybody else, she has complete access to drugs anytime she wants, just as I have. Just because it comes legal, it doesn't mean I'm going to go to the drugstore and pick it up and do it.
Hmm.
So um, legalizing this stuff, the only thing legalizing does is it takes it out of the hands of the law enforcement and government,
So
right?
let's so you let's take the worst one right now, the hot one right now, fentanyl.
Okay.
So if you legalize fentanyl, what do you think the impact of that is?
A lot of stupid people will die, and I'm okay with that.
Hmm. Yeah. Or everybody that dies and come in contact it necessarily would not be um, uh, would be innocent of that because not only is it to say the use of, but just the
Well,
inhaling of
but
it. You see what I'm
but,
saying? So that is something
but look at it now, though. So
you say when you say. Mhm.
why are people ODing and dying from this fentanyl that's on the street right now?
Well, see, one thing is when you have it illegal, and it makes it harder to get, as we both know.
Right,
But the people that is dying is basically on that small percentage of who they're able to meet to who they're able to come in contact with. We
right.
legalize fentanyl. We now say, okay, it is okay to go to your convenience store and be like, yo, let me get a 40 of OE, let me get a box of White House, and let me get 2 grams of fentanyl.
Right. So let me ask you this. So not
Or go
well. Let
to
me
the
ask you this. Oh,
CVS.
right. So
And with and I should say with a slip because it won't be legal like that, but you'll say like with a slip,
sure,
I need to get my fentanyl.
sure.
For
So
for
so
what?
not to be racist, but as a black man, are you an avid marijuana smoker?
Yes.
Well, so let me ask you this.
Because it's not you gotta say, okay, but if we say avid to is weed the choice of a culture? No, because we
Right.
already know it's the universal language
Of
for a
course,
reason. You
weed's
know,
been around longer than coal. Yeah,
right.
yeah,
Healing, clothes, all that shit today. Whether
yeah,
it's a fat and weed has always been there
yeah.
since we can go even before heroin, all this shit. You know what
Uh-huh.
I'm saying? But it
So,
just wasn't. So what?
not to get into your personal business, but have you been to the legal marijuana store?
To a dispensary?
Yeah,
Yeah,
lately. Okay,
yeah,
and you've had stuff prior to it's been illegal, right?
yeah.
Okay, of the two, which one's stronger?
Personal choice, because everything's not the same. You got to figure
Right,
weed is like alcohol.
right,
There's a brand on everyone. You know what
right.
I'm saying? Some people may like Budweiser, Bud Light. Some people like Corona, or Negro. You know what I'm saying? Corona Familiar. So you have you. It's a personal perspective.
Right,
Long as the end point it does what it's supposed to do,
right.
and versus
So
what may happen to some.
right. So now, if you take the fentanyl that's on the street now, it's
Hmm.
it's way stronger and more potent because
Hmm.
they're trying to get as much
Hmm.
in to the and all at
Mm-hmm.
once, all and
Mm-hmm.
as
Mm-hmm.
quickly as possible, right? So you
Right.
pack the most in into one pill as possible um, to
Bang for your buck.
maximize your
Right.
intake, right? So, but
Maximize your
now
product.
let's start regulating it. Now what's going to happen? The
Okay.
amount per is going to be more controlled, right?
Regulated for what? Still is the question because you still have the access of what it does. We already know kids have parties, for instance. Example, kids
Okay.
have parties, pill parties. Throw your pills in the box and let's go. Oh, you got that fentanyl. Oh,
Okay.
Sean got that fentanyl. But first of all, we have to get back to we say we can't take the same approach with all drugs because first of all, weed and fentanyl have a different case. Who has OD'd over weed versus who has died from fentanyl? You see what I'm saying? So the categories of cause and effect, means and effect are dude, it may happen in the same way, but as far as the product that's being transferred along those means, the effect is vastly different from
Mhm.
science. So if you say let's regulate one and let's not regulate the other, we can't have a problem with that. You say because which is the worst demon that if you have to deal with? Do you want to deal with let's say fentanyl or do you want to deal with weed?
Well, you deal with them all. That's what I'm saying. You take the fentanyl and you cut it to a more regulatory, what the body can deal with size.
Nothing. The body can't deal with nothing. A little pinhead of fentanyl is done. That's too much. You're done. That's how sensitive it is. So what is the use of it besides it being used for the quick high like heroin and crack, et cetera, et cetera? So you're saying, okay, let's go to the spot and get the fentanyl. You still just like you got a card, a legal card, a weed card. Everybody got a weed card that need a weed card to go to dispensary. Those weed cards are not always obtained legally. Same as medical cards,
Of
food
course,
stamp cards and those
of
things.
course,
So scams are
of course,
scam. So when
of
you
course.
legalize it, do you think this is more demonizing our society or just trying to put a taxation and say we're going to try to contain the problem is going to be the better thing in the end solution? Or would the approach be say we need to have structure major monetization, increased monetization on this subject category and the cause and effect on what it does if we legalize it versus keeping it how it is right now. It's illegal. Do we have enough information on that? As far as what we have right now, we have the problem of our kids dying. We don't have the monetization of basically uh, well, we may have the monetization of the dollar amount, right? But it's not being glorified. What's being glorified is the uses of fentanyl and what it does, and how it's being glorified is one of the effects as well. So then we go back to saying, okay, what message are we putting out in all of this? Because even in the 70s and 80s, when they was doing cocaine, they was still doing weed. They was still huffing in bags. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Yeah.
Willie Nelson was still getting high.
Of course.
Willie can tell you how maybe weed changed from then to there, but he's still smoking his weed. Cheech and Chong, one may quit, one may not, one may be back on it, but they still have their drug of choice, like perspective, like wine. But still, the cause and effect over the time, when you accumulate how many people had died because of a OD in weed versus not only fentanyl, we just say cocaine, heroin, meth, and then
Yeah.
we add fentanyl because I believe it's the ingredients of the high versus the plant, the chemical versus the plant. It's the chemical high that we're looking for now because of America's mindset is I want it now. I call it microwave results, 3-minute results. I don't have pages for it. I want it now. When you get
Sure.
that high and that fix, that chemical effect is I want it now. I want it now. Now, what is it driving our resources to get that now? The resources that we have become suddenly depleted before they can be replenished. You see what I'm saying? So that gross national product that we all be talking about flips. And then that's where we have the product, the problems because it begins to have the adverse effect as which was good in the beginning. You know what I'm saying? So that's still the question. It's still the question. But you believe that dealing with all of that and you say, okay, the problems or the deaths in our community that may come from that legalization, you think that may, in the long run, be better for us than the answer than what we have now. Now, I'm not
Well,
saying what we have now is the answer because we
yeah,
can do better, and I believe we can do better.
yeah.
You
Well,
know,
again, I don't think there is a better other than
right?
allowing people to make personal choice. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
again, people are going to obtain it whether it's legal or illegal, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it should be allowed up to personal choice. If you're going to be a moron and you're going to go take this drug that you have a 98% chance that you're going to die from it, you know,
Right.
I
Right.
myself personally, I'm
Right.
all
Right.
for it. If you're that big of a
Right.
moron, I say take as much as you can.
Right.
You
Right.
know, I'm
Right.
I'm pro Darwinism. You
Right.
know,
I feel you
yeah,
because
you
it's
know,
like
'cause
it's just even now. Uh, I'm not that. We all have access to something. I don't want that shit.
right,
You see what I'm
exactly,
saying? You
exactly. I
know.
mean,
So my I
if
do.
we're
I'm
gonna,
not pro-choice. Yes, I am with
yeah, I
you on
mean,
that. I'm
if
pro-choice
we're
too.
gonna take away things
But
just because the probability of dying in them, we got to take away cars. The probability of dying in your car is just as much as having an overdose.
the chances are you saying in that perspective? I would
Yeah,
say where you may drive to
no, it
may
don't
have a
matter.
higher chance of dying than where you go
It don't matter.
versus you see what I'm saying, certain aspects. You say it don't matter.
It don't
It's
matter.
but everything is not level on the same playing
But-
field.
yeah, but it does. It doesn't. It doesn't really. It doesn't have to be level. I mean, in reality, um, I mean that's a whole nother topic. But like, it's not
Hmm.
about the only thing that needs to be level is personal freedom. That's what it comes down to.
Hmm. Agree.
Because think about it this way.
Hmm.
So a lot of the reason drugs are illegal is to allow opportunity. So I'm going to give you this stat. So police target people of color due to the likeliness of finding marijuana on them. So
Okay, you think
they use it as a
that's showing a
means
strategy,
simply just to stop and ask.
which is no different than saying police target Latinos in Arizona because they're illegals. They think they're illegals.
Right,
Hence, racial profiling in any
right.
aspect.
So
Right.
if you legalize it, you now take that
You trying to take the power away or the sword away in a sense.
yeah, you take that tool out of their tool belt to use it as an opportunity to consent
But
a
it's so you can't say so. In other words, it's okay to make it okay to racial profile. That's going to
no,
increase intensity.
well that's why a lot of the laws are in place. Simple possession is in place simply to allow cops
Okay.
to hey look to see if there's the drugs. They you know when you're on a traffic stop and you don't consent to the officer to search your vehicle, what do? They call for the dog, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it gives them the opportunity to then search your car. If drugs become illegal legal to possess, then they no longer have the need to have that quick ability to search your car unconstitutionally.
It's okay. So, A is you saying that's gonna is it gonna intensify the problem with society in the community with say
No,
law
it's
officers?
gonna take it away because the officers will
You
no longer
think
have that in their
the right to
holster.
race? Okay,
Right.
but they're still gonna be pulling you over. They're
Sure.
still going to be asking, "Are you legal or not?" And now they don't have to hide behind the safeguard of we had, let's say, of I had of saying, "Hey, you're racial profiling me." Now it's like, nah, it don't matter. You white, you Latino, you Asian, you Arab, you Middle Eastern. You saying I'm saying you black, whatever. We don't give a fuck. We can go ahead and pull you over because of whatever stereotypes connected to you. It's all right. No, that's
Sure.
not all right.
No, yeah,
Because how do they handle that? It's not how they all don't handle it the same,
for sure.
and
For
we
sure.
know they don't handle it the same.
Of
So
course.
again, does it say is that the answer to say it's okay to do this and this shit because now we have a safeguard around it? We have a safeguard around it right now. We're saying, hey, this is wrong. Now we're going to take off the safeguard and say, hey, this is right. So what intensifies from the occasions? The reason why we got the safeguard to say, hey, this is wrong is because of the data and the history of showing us this is wrong. You see, when you have all the hangings, when you have the Jim Crow theories and all that, this is wrong. You know, so we don't say, hey, that's legal, so we can put safeguards around to say, nah, you was wrong for doing the hanging in the wrong way. It's just like in the Wild West to say you was wrong for shooting that man because you shot that man in his back. You didn't shoot that man at high noon when he had a fair opportunity to defend himself. But he raped my damn wife. Don't matter. That's not the law. The law is you can't shoot a man in the back. Huh? Is that fair? But we all know the laws are written equal, and I agree with you. The laws are all written equal, but they're not adjudicated the same. They're not
Right.
adjudicated
No, no,
equally,
they're not. That's what I'm saying. They're
and
not
that's the
written equal.
problem. Now it goes back to what you just said. You said, remember in the beginning we was talking about, man, the problem is this: will we ever have equality? No. And the reason is because of these little things. We do believe in equality, yes, we do. We do believe in fairness, yes, we do. But the problem is that we have the power. Some don't want to relinquish that power,
Of
and if they
course.
relinquish that power, then we're going to look at people being able to have equality. But those in power want to remain in power for a reason. And until we
Right.
have that, we're always going to have that classification. We're always going to have that some symbolism or some formality of oppression, whether it's direct or it can be systematic. And we all know that once again when we was talking, how do we get the little men to join the team so we can change the problem systematically? But we all got to have that collective belief, and we don't have that collective belief. You know what I'm saying? And
Right.
me and you are trying, but
Right.
we need more
Right.
than us.
I mean,
You see what I'm saying?
yeah. I mean, the biggest thing, obviously, for push for change would be
Right,
one to either a vote, um,
right,
and vote locally more than
right,
nationally, and
right,
try to vote more independent than the red and the blue,
right,
and as well as run for office yourself.
right, right,
Stop considering yourself a little man and get
right,
involved.
right.
Right? You want change. That's the great thing about this country. Red or yellow, black or white. Um,
Hmm.
you can go and be a part of the cog of the American government and
Hmm.
push for that change.
Right.
That's the not there's not a lot of other countries in the world that allow that. You have to
Right.
actually be at a certain social standard in order to be considered
Right.
able to run for an office of any kind.
Yeah, we have had that movement. We see that movement, which is a good thing, as we do have that movement. So with young people in America definitely getting in politics and Congress. It is
Yep.
good. But on the other side, you also wonder, man, I hope the mindset. You wonder about the mindset. But we'll never know because time is going to be able to want to show us what's happening with this movement and the effects of this movement. And one of the things that we're always going to have and still have that we continuously talk about, but we got to talk about more for 3 days, just like the Black Lives Movement, a Black Lives Matter moment. You know what I'm saying? Is we got to talk about equality and keep it, and how are we going to go ahead and do the things to break down those walls so then others can rise up? It's not just about saying racial. You got gender inequality. First thing which we can always talk about, and which is prevalent right now, is the disparity between the NBA and WNBA. Soccer. Women's soccer and men's soccer. You know what I'm saying? The travel arrangements, how much they get paid, those things in that nature. So once
Yeah,
again,
but
but how is that power?
that's not an inequality thing, though.
You don't think
I'll
it's a
say,
gender inequality?
nope.
Because I think that the reason so what do you think? You say, okay, so the WNBA only was allotted this much money because they didn't predict that the market was going to make this much, or they didn't have the faith in what the women can generate, or how
Well,
prosperous the women can be in their sport. And I know it's a touchy subject, but you said you
well,
opened the door. You said you didn't think, so tell me. I want to know.
yeah. Well, I mean, that's definitely a topic for that we can get into another time. But
Okay.
all I have to say is, if if you ran into the office of Ron Howard and Brian Grazer and said, "You need to produce my movie because if you don't, that's racial inequality because I'm a black man and you're not producing my movies,"
Right.
right? And what are they going to
Right.
say to you? Who the hell are you? What have you
Right.
done? What
Right.
what can you what can you show me that you've produced anything to make us want to
Right.
produce anything? So it's the same with the
Right.
WNBA. The WNBA is 92% funded by the NBA, not by ticket sales, by the NBA. They are
Mm-hmm.
nearly completely funded by the NBA,
Mm-hmm.
and they
Okay.
still can't
Mm-hmm.
sell out even the bottom half of the
Consistently.
arena,
Right.
right?
Okay. Okay.
So they don't have ticket sales, right?
Okay.
Even when they give ticket sales, even when they give tickets away at the door, give tickets away on their fries receipts, they still can't fill an arena. Even
Okay.
the WNBA All Star was here,
Mm-hmm.
it was crickets on the floor. I mean,
Okay.
and that
So.
kind of
Mm-hmm.
and that's but you go to who are the two worst teams in the NBA right now? I don't know.
Oh,
The Nets versus the
we can say
Nuggets.
Timberwolves. No, Nuggets is balling. You can
Oh,
say
I don't know.
yeah, Timberwolves and Charlotte Hornets.
Okay, go to Timberwolves Hornets game. I bet you they still pack their house more
Then a
than
WNBA
with
game.
a WNBA championship.
Okay, I'm gonna say that is we'll say that's one product portion. That's not the only one. But so we say okay, in the WNBA they're not as prosperous as the men. Well, we do know this,
Uh-huh.
as the men, and they're considered like they're the little sister of the NBA. Okay, got it. Now when we take let's look at soccer for instance. When we
Okay.
look at soccer and women's soccer and
Uh-huh.
and inequality in that, we can say
Okay.
okay, when is the last time they've been to the World Cup? And if we break it down, how good is their record? Not even World Cups. Let's just say, how good is their record in goodwill games, in friendly matches? What kind of draw, what kind of tickets do they have? They
Okay.
don't have the draw. Now, we're not saying 5 years. We're saying a span, let's say 20 years. Let's talk in the age of what we know of. We're saying 20 years. But if we take the mindset and say, yo, what you just said and say, yo, well, we don't know you. Who are you? That's the same aspect in which we take in the NFL when it was started,
Uh-huh.
in the MLB when it was started,
Uh-huh.
in golf when it was started, especially golf, especially tennis when it was started, and even
Uh-huh.
tennis has a disparity in that because of what it is now. Certain sports may be hotter for men than women, vice versa. You see what I'm saying? But
Uh-huh.
if we still talk about the fairness and equality of the success of a product, why do we start financially? The bar for women is lower than the bar for men. And I say back again, that has to do with the stripes of power. There's almost a power as far as this man and his ego say, I'm gonna get these women to go ahead and start this sport. This is how much I'm gonna give to these women as far as this. I may be able to give more, which in a lot of cases, honestly, in my little ass opinion, I believe they can give more. I just don't think they want to believe that they want to give more. I don't think so. You know,
You know,
but
but that's the thing,
the
though.
mentality of fairness is not there in all sports. It's not like they're playing less as hard. They're running just as fast. They're not training just as hard. Once again, I said I respect sports.
Sure.
I respect the competitive nature. I respect the pain, the grueling aspect of what it takes, the injuries we got to overcome to be successful in that mountain you got to climb to get to the top. You know, I respect all that. Anybody puts it in. You know what I'm saying? So I just the equality though is not there, and it may have to do with what you said, the faith in how successful is this woman's sport versus this man's sport, or versus the men in the same sport.
Sure. I just come down. It's ticket sales
Ticket sales.
when it's a
Hmm.
sporting event, when
Right.
it's a concert, when it's
Hmm.
movies. It comes down to
Right.
tickets. Who's selling the
Right.
tickets, right?
Right.
So for me, gender equality is I'm sitting at my job, working 9 to 5, and I'm making $17 an hour, and I've been working there for the last 5 years, and
Right.
there's a gal next to me do the exact same job, and she's making
Hmm.
$17 an hour,
Hmm.
but when working there for the last 5 years. That's equal, right?
Right.
Now, if she was making 1650, okay, there's probably an inequality thing there, but is there a reason she's making 1650 over my 17, or vice versa? So if I was making 1650 and she was making 17, is that inequality? Is that gender inequality, or is that like, well, no, the girl's just doing better?
I would wonder if it comes with tenureship of employment. So because you have worked there longer
No,
versus
like I
other.
said, we both
But
been there
well, no.
5 years,
Are you
doing the
both been there
exact same
5 years?
job. Yeah, we
Nah,
both
then
been there five
I would
years, doing the
wonder,
exact same job.
did she get a raise and you didn't, or did you get a raise and she didn't?
Exactly.
I would wonder. I
Right.
would wonder.
But
But then
is
again,
that a gender
we're
thing, or is that possibly a
but
performance thing?
but here's the trick: we're not supposed to know how much each other of us get paid, huh?
Well, that's what they don't want you to know, but you
Right,
should know.
right. We're right. That's what I say. You know what I'm saying? So when we sit up here, and that's why I say, like one of my last jobs, I was like, yo, I left, but asked for the same equality and changing the position and the same
Right.
leeway you gave somebody else. I've been there just as long as
Right.
them, and then another
So
person been there just as long or
so
longer
there
than.
was
You see, understandable.
yeah. So just to show to hold in the equality thing, because we're anyways,
Oh
um
yeah,
there
we
was
can
a
go.
there was a story a few years back. A woman flutist sued, I think it was the New York Philharmonic Orchestra, right? Because she felt she was being discriminated as far as gender pay, right? She compared herself to this gentleman who was playing a much more, I think, like the French horn, like a style of the French horn, right?
Okay,
And so she sued, and the courts came back and said, well, one, he's been there 20 years, you've been there 5 years. He's playing a much more complicated instrument compared to your flute. Like everything, you're not you're not setting a level bar in order to say that there's
right,
inequality there. You have to have
right,
a level bar to say there's inequality, right? To put
right,
the NBA to the WNBA is not a level bar. It's not a level. They're not level. The
right,
NBA, they've been playing longer, and
right,
and they're a more proven product than the WNBA. You know,
right. So right, and you're right. No, you are correct. Okay, you've
you
been
know.
there longer, which understandably, I just asked the question: the showing a belief in funding, how come that's not there when it's available? That shows the equality. Is when you compensate one, not to say we're giving you
Well,
shortcomings, you need to build up, but if you're a professional athlete, you're a professional soccer player, and you've been to so many games and these, and now you're coming into this new league or whatever, and there's this
okay.
funding,
Well,
there's
let
minimum
me ask you
lines,
this
right?
though: who,
Why not?
who okay? Who is paying the men's soccer team?
Whatever owners there is,
Okay, who's paying the women's soccer team?
you know, whatever owners there is. The structure
Right.
wouldn't be different, right?
No,
No,
it
the
probably
structure,
would be.
but
It
the
probably
pay's
well,
different.
right.
But see, they're two different
Not,
things, but they're not.
but they are, because what's the men's ticket sale versus the women's ticket sales?
The not as good as the women's, and that's the
You
whole
sure?
point.
Are you sure?
When is man? Yeah, yeah. I can go ahead and bet a Hershey bar that the women then drew out more crowds than the men because the women have been more successful over a span of time than the men.
Is
And
that
and
so?
you can
That's
even look at World Cups, friendlies, and all the matches they've played. You can look
that's
at it.
fine, but successful matches versus ticket sales is not necessarily
But wins
even
bring
ground.
money. Wins bring money. But
No,
even though they didn't
ticket
have
sales
wins,
ticket
there you
sales brings
go.
money. Ticket
Ticket
sales
sales
brings
bring money.
money.
So
Right.
when the US isn't winning, I'm still not. So basically, you're saying that the US plays and they lose. They've been losing, and they're
Yeah.
still drawing more than the women who have been successful in winning gold medals and winning World Cups and winning friendly matches, traveling
Yeah.
all over, beating the hell out of countries, going on a
Worldwide
30 game
men's
win streak and
men's
all that.
soccer worldwide men's soccer outsells women's soccer 10-1.
Well, we're gonna have to see this one. You know, we
But
gonna have to
yes,
see
we'll
this
have to
one.
come back to this on another
We coming back to
show.
this shit,
There's
damn
gonna,
it. We
there's
coming
gonna
back
be
to
some
this.
research.
I got a Hershey
But,
bar in this motherfucker. Whatever candy bar you want. Well, you ain't doing candy. I
but,
get you avocado smoothie, and we go ahead and do it like that. It's a bet, though. Damn
but
it. Yeah, we got to
that
keep it moving.
comes back to uh,
Mm-hmm.
but that comes back to the equality of the drug laws, right? So the reason there's drug laws on the records right now is to hold down people, right?
Mm-hmm.
They again, people target people of color
Mm-hmm.
in order to be able to toss them to try to find uh, even just a little bit. So
Mm-hmm.
let's talk about like the whole Brittany Griner situation, right? Uh,
Yeah.
uh, so the whole Bridget Griner situation was a farce, right? Because she pretty much was detained for simple possession, again attempted trafficking, um, out of Russia with a CBD oil, whatever, through with a vape pen. Now, let me ask you this: so we did all sorts of stuff, bend over backwards to get her back into the U.S., right? So, in favor of equality, do you know how many people in Arizona have been arrested simply for marijuana
I mean,
from 2006 to
mm-hmm.
2020? 230,000 people have been arrested at the state level for simple possession, with an estimated 42% conviction rate. Now, for the entirety of the United States, from the year 2001 to 2010,
Right.
8.2 million people arrested, 88% of them for simple possession.
Okay. Now, my turn to reflect on that one. Okay, so this is the thing with that one. No doubt. Be safe. So, it's the thing of that one. Apologize, people. You know what I'm saying? Life moves on anyway around us. But keep it real short and sweet. It's just the logic, man. Um, okay, when first of all you trying to smuggle something, the U.S. law is not the law for Russia. The consequences isn't the same. The person is in a different status. It's like one doesn't recognize who they are, and then I also think it could be a thing of ego. Okay, well, shit, I'm pretty great. Ain't nobody gonna fuck with me. I'm just go through here. I got this tucked over here. Boop, boop. Oh shit. Well, okay, it's no cool.
Huh?
Nah,
Mhm.
you know what I'm saying? And
Uh-huh.
that's where I think the naivety comes into this. And I'm just like, wait a minute. So we're beefing over this and with her, but it wasn't like she was set up. It wasn't like it was something funny. It was like it was just some dumb shit she did. You know
Right,
what I'm saying? Like
right,
straight up, it's just some dumb shit she did,
right,
and we got a mockery over this and all of that. And I'm like, okay, so what about some real cats over there? And there was soldiers or whatever that's held up that we don't know about because that's who we know about. There's
right.
people we don't know about
Yeah,
for
of
some
course,
real stuff,
of course.
but it was this big make about what she did. Okay, I'm happy she home. That's cool. I don't hate
Yeah.
nobody to be sitting over there locked up abroad. But dog, if you do something so silly, you
Yep.
cannot be expecting, oh, well, she never done, she in the wrong. Well, hold up. When we look at the US and we look at a black man that may get caught up in some shit, we don't hear people like the whole country fighting for her. Or we see when the Latino gets done wrong by the police out here in Mason, that be fucking them up for some shit just because they got the badge or they got some type of hate on them. We don't see that being nationalized and the politicians speaking on that. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? But we
Exactly.
talking about a simple possession
Exactly.
of some vape cartridges, and if it's illegal, it's illegal. Point
Right.
blank. Now, Russia,
Exactly.
you just happen to get up to a 10-year fine for Russia. We all know Russia stereotypically is rough. Like they ain't playing with Russia. It's cold out there. Them motherfuckers ain't nice. Drink vodka all damn day. They ain't got no money. They paying ruples. Ruples ain't shit. So now they paying people in vodka. Who the fuck works for vodka? What they eating? Bread and potatoes and toast. Who the hell is nice? Ain't no sun. It's all rainy and cold and snowy. Man, the president chisel jaw, drink milk every day, beat a cow, wrestle a bear. You know what I'm saying? So it's these things about just being a cold place, right? And it's very rigid, right? And then we have the expectations of, oh, well, they don't have the sensibility and the commonality of that we have because it's just something so minor. No, that's
Yeah,
not how they look at it.
but
It's a world of
how minor is it?
reverse.
Let's compare that. So she got 9 years, right, in Russia, right? So
Right. Mm-hmm.
here Arizona law, right? Simple
Right.
possession,
Right.
which is less than 1 ounce, which is what she had, right?
Right.
As of right
Right.
now, simple possession less than 1 ounce right now is legal in Arizona. There's no penalty.
Right.
Okay,
In Arizona.
in Arizona.
Legal in Arizona. Those
and,
key words,
and
legal
Arizona,
in
right?
Arizona.
So those of you not in Arizona, don't pay attention to this because you check your state laws, and as well, it's a federal law. We'll get
Because what
into that.
happens in Texas? If it ain't legal in Texas, then there's a penalty.
Right, exactly. So possession of 1 to 2.5 ounces.
Mm-hmm.
This is just possession now.
Mm-hmm.
Is $300. The $300 fine.
Mm-hmm.
2.5 ounces to 2 pounds is 6 months to a year and a half in jail, and or $150,000 fine.
See,
Now,
that's the problem.
again, that's just regular possession. Remember, she was
Right.
going through an airport,
Right.
potentially going to traffic it back to the U.S.
Trafficking.
Okay,
Right.
so
Changes the category totally.
right in Arizona itself, and actually on the federal level, because trafficking is a federal law,
Mm-hmm.
less than,
Right.
anything
Right.
less than,
Right.
which is that means anything from 2 pounds. So that's from less than 1 ounce, which is what she
Right.
had, to two
Right.
pounds. Trafficking
Easy.
in the United States. Now we're comparing it to
Right.
Russia. It's 9 years, right?
Right.
2.5 to 7 years, and or one hundred fifty
Mm-hmm.
thousand dollars fine.
Again, where do we
The
go? What did
exact
I
same,
go back to? The exact thing. Okay.
nearly
But
nearly the exact same.
has somebody been gotten the max in America for that? Yes, they have.
Oh
I bet you there
yeah,
has been somebody.
bet you.
Yes, there has been. May not have the name, but yes, it has. And history can document that, right? But has
Yeah,
somebody also had the lesses or less than that amount? Yes, they have been.
yeah,
Why? The law was written right, but the person adjudicating the law, they not right.
right.
The law is always based on the person adjudicating their skew of what they think righteous is. Whatever they think the scale is balanced, that's where that comes
Yeah.
from. That's where
See,
that sentencing comes
see
from.
now,
You see what I'm saying?
the legalizing of the drugs wouldn't change trafficking. So trafficking is still illegal. So even trafficking of alcohol is still currently illegal. Like you can't like if you live in Yuma, you can't
Right.
drive over to California border, pick up some beer, and then drive it back
Mm-hmm.
over to the Yuma side. That's
Right.
actually trafficking
Right.
of alcohol. That is actually a federal offense.
Right.
Um, and it actually happens all the time in Kansas City because
Right.
I don't know if you know this. Kansas City is in both Missouri and in Kansas.
Mm-hmm.
So on Sundays, Kansas is a dry state unless you're in a restaurant. So if you want to drink at home, if you forgot to buy your beer on a Saturday, you're screwed. And you could try to drive over to Missouri side, pick up
Right.
some beer, wine, and drive it back over. But if you get stopped, guess what? You've been trafficking alcohol. So
Right.
legalizing of drugs would not change the whole trafficking aspect of
Mm-hmm.
the
Right.
situation.
And it's just and it doesn't help that when it comes to dealing with countries, Russia and the United States are not partners. It's not like we like Canada. We got
Yeah,
some type of cool little relations. It's different, man. And then when you're in that aspect, it's just politics, and that's why I was just like, man, it's so silly, and I just think, in a sense, is just wrong because we got greater liabilities or greater victims of injustice on both sides of the track.
Of
you
course.
know,
Of
than that
course.
one.
Of course.
So
Because well,
that's you
because
know,
prison's big money. So,
yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, don't we know?
so
Don't we
which is
know?
probably the biggest number one reason why um, drugs will have the hardest time being brought to be legal
Right.
because there is so much more money in solving a problem than actually having a solved problem.
True.
Right?
Yeah.
There's more money in
Hmm.
fighting the problem than there is the actual resolving the problem.
Right.
Right?
Right. That's real. That's real for sure. Just get on. Word. Yeah, I'm with you on that one, man. I'm with you on that one. But it's still a great debate because
Yeah.
I still say when you're looking into it, okay, it might sound good over here and have, but still how you correlate the breakdown of it, that's where we still gonna have a problem. We look at what's gonna happen on the minute scale and the effect of the minute, it's never gonna fix the majority because it
Right.
always anything to get major always starts small. It's
Exactly.
from even the first example of inequality of somebody just getting pushed because they didn't like something, no reason.
Exactly.
There we go,
Exactly.
and then it just got bigger. You know what I'm saying? It just got bigger. So
Yeah.
you know,
So I
it,
don't know. So speaking of trafficking, so we did. I want to first we go to shout out to Mr. Kim Williams. Thanks for joining us, Kim Williams. I
most deaf,
appreciate
most
your
deaf,
comments.
most
Those
deaf.
come in handy. So thank you, Ken, for commenting on our topics at the time. So get ready for some more comments because we did an old movie review. We did a review of
Yes,
it's weird calling it an old movie, but we did the review of the movie Life, starring
yes.
Eddie Murphy and Martin Lawrence.
Come on, Ray. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Um, hilarious. Hilarious. I'm gonna say old school. There's, you got movies with one-liners, and you got movies with two or three one-liners.
Oh yeah.
But Life is a movie of one-liners. And
Oh,
it has these different chapters. How it rolls in with Ray and I want to say Eddie, Eddie, Ray, and
Eddie Eddie was Ray,
yeah,
and
yeah,
uh, and then Martin Lawrence was
Claude and Ray.
yeah.
The answer is
Clyde. There
Claude.
you go. There you go, Tech. There you go, Tech.
there he
Tech,
is.
ladies and gentlemen, Tech. So Claude and Ray, man, you know how they get caught up, and actually when I look watch the first time, I was like, yo, this is dope, all star cast. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Watched it the second time and was like,
he,
you know, uh, Ray
he
didn't
ain't taking
swindle
my
Clyde.
cornbread there, Ken. He ain't taking my
Nah, but when
cornbread.
you look at it, dog, I still say Ray swindled Clyde, man. You know what I'm saying? Because Ray seen the mark and thought he could get him, and Clyde was just so gullible and goofy and
Yeah,
senseless. He didn't know, and he just happened to be the bystander. And then all that shit, just to express, I mean, you gonna eat your cornbread? No, 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 don't be in your cornbread. You know what I'm saying? To Jiggle Leg, you know,
yeah,
to the motherfucker talking about apple pie and all my big toe stuck in the bottle. Ray, don't make me laugh now. Don't make me laugh. You know what I mean? I mean, that shit. I'm the pappy boss. I'm the pappy. That there, my boy boss. You know what I'm saying? I'm that there dope. That there boy's daddy.
can't get
I mean,
right.
this hey,
Can't get
timeless.
right.
Can't get right. All star cast, man. And I just keep thinking about the people on the outtakes. The outtakes of that movie is probably freaking hilarious, yo.
Yeah, yeah,
Hilarious.
yeah. Some,
Hilarious. Because one scene they just had to keep doing it. Then when he was pitching, when Can't Get Right was pitching, I know that right there, they was
well, that
breaking
was
it down.
Jiggly was pitching.
Oh,
Jiggly.
Jiggly, yeah, Jiggly was pitching. Yo, that was break. Yo, that was something else. And then the fight, you know what I'm saying? And then when they talk about Ray's Boom Boom Room,
Yeah,
you
baby.
know what I mean? Yeah, all that, man. I was just thinking, like, man, I would have loved to have been the cameraman on that set.
Right,
That's
for
all I
sure.
was thinking. That would
For
have been
sure.
dope. So Classic, yo, classic.
Yeah, and I did my typical every time they brought up some sort of historical fact, I jump on to see how accurate they were in the timelines. They talk about Bob Gibson, like, was Bob Gibson around at the time? He was, the 40s, and then they talk about uh, something else. The Crawfords, was the Crawfords a real thing? Yeah, Pittsburgh Crawfords, they were a real team. You
Right.
know, I was doing all. When they start. One of the ones I could not completely validate is one of the guys was arrested for stabbing Santa,
Right.
right? So he was meaning he stabbed and killed a Salvation Army bell ringer dressed as Santa.
Right.
That kind of struck me because when Ray and Claude were in the Mississippi State Penitentiary, it was
Mm-hmm.
1932. And so, how long had that the gentleman been in there prior to that? Maybe a year or two. So,
Mm-hmm.
but even still, 1932, the Salvation Army one had these Santa Claus bell ringers
Mm-hmm.
because Santa Claus was actually a product of Coca Cola, not necessarily a product of Christmas. And two, was it around in Mississippi? So that was one point I couldn't quite completely validate that there would be the bell ringing Santa Claus in Mississippi in the 30s.
Man, it's a movie, Aaron. It's a movie. It ain't a documentary. It's a
I didn't.
movie. Nah, I
I
feel you though. I know.
didn't.
I know. We always look for a connection of truth. There's
Right.
always something like when we watch. I'm like, I wonder if that real. Is that real? Let me Google that.
All right.
Like
So
if you see like a war movie or something.
right. Right.
But I got one on the next. When we get to the next one, I got you on the next movie. It's gonna be something.
Okay.
I got you on the
So
next
yeah.
one.
So that actually the thing that I found the most intriguing about Life is the movie was actually written by two white guys.
See,
Did you know that?
no, I didn't know that. I didn't. I
Yeah.
don't know like the. I don't know the writers. I don't look up the writers of a lot of movies I watch. To be honest, I didn't know that. I thought the
Yeah.
most intriguing thing about Life was the title.
Yeah.
Honestly, because the title was something you like Life, okay, and you think you're watching the movie, and you just get engrossed in the movie.
Yeah.
The title doesn't come up until you get to the end of the movie, and you're just like, yo, these guys been in there all their life.
Yeah.
And then because the song goes, you see the pictures of the people, and they start disappearing, and then
Yeah.
it's life, and I thought that some movie titles fit, but I really thought that that was the best title for that movie,
Yeah.
Life. And I thought
Yeah.
I just thought that was one of the best things, which I rarely would say that shit, but
Yeah.
no, for real though, I was like, wow, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
She was crazy.
Exactly.
She
Exactly.
was crazy. I got you though. I got you on the next one though. I got you. It's another classic. It's a banger. Bang
Yeah.
bang.
Yeah. It's probably my all-time favorite Martin Lawrence movie.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Now that's a hard one to say because Martin Lawrence got some good ones. Some good
Yeah.
ones. So
Yeah.
you know
Yeah.
what I'm
That's
saying
that's
this.
probably my all-time favorite Martin Lawrence. Not my
Okay.
favorite Eddie Murphy, but definitely my favorite Martin Lawrence.
Favorite Martin Lawrence. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll feel you with that one. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now we're not doing um we're not doing another movie renew now. We
No,
you know
not
how we
this
like to
time.
mix it up now. We now
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
yeah. Say new now. So now we're
Yeah.
gonna wind it up. We're gonna have to switch to music. We like music. We
Yep.
like
Yeah.
movies.
Yeah.
So
So
we're
so
going
we're
with
gonna
a
give
movie.
each other. So those of you though out there who
Right.
don't know,
Right.
so previously being a part of the Who They Want Network, we used to give each other a music assignment where Vel gives me an artist and or album to listen to, um, in regards to
Mm-hmm.
music he loves and used to listen to, and then I do the
Mm-hmm.
same thing. I'll give him a piece of music for him to listen to, and then we'll come back on our next show to review it.
Yep.
So this episode, Al, do you want to give yours?
Yeah, man. I'm feeling pretty powerful. Righteous is who I am. Magnetic. That's how I'm doing. How I'm doing. I'm feeling a ray of sunshine. Super Bowl tomorrow, baby. So I'm giving you Fight the Power, 2019 album. Various artists, but people always know, of course, Public Enemy, Fight the Power. Check D up on there, but I'm giving you Fight the Power. Fight
Okay.
the Power.
Well, that's the album. Fight the Power of the album.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Okay.
sir. Fight the Power.
All right. So I had to think long and hard as far as what I wanted to give you
Mm.
for the the first music assignment upon our return to the B&W show. Because the
Mm-hmm.
first one I gave you way back in the day was Gary Allen, so it was it was country and kind of mixing things up between country and pop and some hard rock. And I was like, oh, I gotta give something of quality this time. Not that I did not give anything not of quality, but
All
like
right.
something powerful, something that really speaks to what the B&W show is all about. I
Mm-hmm.
had a couple things come to my mind here and there. I'm like, oh, that would be a good one. But then it struck me like it, boom, like just like a ray of light, like it hit me, and it's like this. It revealed itself.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is the one.
Okay.
So I'm dubbing on to you the 1980 album of Waylon Jennings entitled "The Music Man."
How spell Waylon? W A Y
W
L.
Waylon, Waylon Jennings.
All right. Waylon
Yeah.
Jennings. The music. I heard the song title. I'm not quite. I probably heard the song. Didn't even know the Music Man.
Well, that's the album title, Music Man, but it's not
Oh.
the Music Man you're thinking of.
Okay.
Because
Music
that's
Man.
actually a musical, but
All right.
that's not the one in question here. And then
Okay.
when you listen to it and you enjoy it, he's at Waylon Jennings actually buried out here in Arizona. So if you enjoy it, we'll go out and visit his grave and thank him for his contribution to the B&W show.
Okay. Let me check it out. I'm gonna
Cool,
let you know if I enjoy it.
cool.
All right.
Well, we're
So,
ready to wind things up. So to end things off, Vel has his. What'd you call it, Vel?
I think I was gonna say words of wisdom, but no, it's not. It's not. I'm gonna just say it's the jewel dropper for the hour. That's what
Yeah,
this is. The
it's the
jewel
fruits that
dropper
loop.
for the hour. Right.
It's the fruits
You
that
know,
loop. Yeah,
yeah, man. And honestly, the whole reason it came up is that we all go through things. We have friends, long time, short time friends, friends in passing. Okay. And personally, I've just had a couple losses. What I'm saying, just had me doing some reflecting on
yeah.
life.
Tom
So
Brady.
one thing I always like to say, oh, Tom Brady, yeah, screw you, guy, you got your ass. 3 years ass whooping. Yeah. How that feel, buddy? nah, but I always like to say, man, some have heard me say it, some don't. But knowing me, I like to say life is short. So we love it, live it before we leave it. Honestly, you gotta love what you do in life, just gotta first love yourself. You know what I'm saying? And then you set off to try to just find what you want to do and love it. And live it, really live it. We go through trials and tribulations. We got some sunny days, bad days, but live life and enjoy living. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And because when we leave it, that's it. And the only thing we have to remember us is by the footsteps that we left. And we all know that. The only difference is some of us leave footprints, some of us step, and it just gets washed away. So that's the difference of what it means to you, man. So like I said, that's my jewel dropper for the hour, from the heart. So
I mean,
that's all I got for you.
it's not about the quantity of your life; it's about the quality of your life.
True indeed. True indeed. True indeed. So yeah, man. So Super Bowl on peoples. So now with that said, no, we do want to say thank you for giving us your time. Little short thing in life. It's just like that. So appreciate it mostly. And like my man likes to sense take us out there and what's the famous saying we love to say?
We apologize for the inconvenience.
Always do, cause we go leave you something. We see y'all in a minute, man. A minute just being that. What's the next time that we on? So From that tech, take us out, baby. Love y'all.
Yeah.
Peace.
See you in 2 Saturdays.
Always, already.